Payne-Kimbrough.
I'm Shauntavia Williams, aka Cheeks.
Welcome to C&D Beauty Studio.
Welcome.
Oh, I didn't do none of that right, child. I got so involved in our video now, like so involved. So, hello, everyone.
Hi.
Dee Dee Payne-Kimbrough here.
Shauntavia Cheeks Williams. We
And
are co-owners of C&D Beauty Studio in Arlington, Texas.
yes.
And we're here today to talk about inclusion in the beauty industry. So we have a panel with us today.
Yes.
Take it over, Dee Dee.
So we do have a panel today, and we are going to have multiple people hopefully come in and popping in. And if you are watching us live and you may want to pop in with a thing, with a comment or so, get interactive with us, let us know, request it, and if we can pop you in here, we will. If you have something that you want us to discuss, put that in the comments below. But I am going to just say this little spiel. So we are a salon located in Arlington, Texas, who services everyone, every hair texture, every skin tone. And that goes without saying because we are artists and we can cover everyone. And I know that we have to say that because there's so many people who can't say that. So everyone that we have on our panel today are people who are very well-rounded. They are some of the people that I respect the most in the industry. Some of them have been doing this 20 plus years. Some have been doing this less than 3, 4, 5 years. But every last one of the people who are in here can and will service anyone. And that is why they are here, because I feel like that the conversation is very powerful when you have people who are truly in the thick of it. So I'm going to introduce the few people that we have currently. So the first one I'm going to bring in is Rhea. So we was in cosmetology school together. That's how we met. And to say that this girl is about that life is an understatement. So I remember in school, we would have dance party Fridays, and me and her would be in there. When I say cutting up, she did all the line dances, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Who is this? But she is no nonsense. If you guys do not know her, follow her on her Facebook page. Because she is on there calling the people out. Okay, she plays no games when it comes to racism. She's truly about that life. So that is why she is here. She is a hairstylist, makeup artist. She's a cosmetologist, so she does everything, nails as well. And she recently, which we're going to talk about your experience at the Black Lives Matter protest that you were at. You recently got a little backlash about that, but she says she will not back down, and that's what that is. The next person we have is Mavel.
Hello.
Hey, Mavel. Mavel is a hairstylist, makeup artist. She is a salon owner. She has her own line, and of hair products. Excuse me, I have to clarify that. But she has been in the industry for 27, 28, something like that years. And she has been all over. So that's why she's here. The next person we have is Odis Lewis.
Hey. My family.
Hey, right. So he is a photographer, videographer. He is just an all-around creative beat maker. Pretty much anything you need, he could provide. Just a dope person all the way around. Super artistic. I am going to. Willie is supposed to be on here, and Willie said he can't find the link, y'all. We love Willie, but him and technology. Doesn't work. All right. We will get that to you. And then next y'all will see Willie Johnson on here. I'm not going to introduce him because y'all all know him, but hopefully we can get him on here because I'm going to send him the link. So here we are. We are at a time right now that it's not that racism just started. It's been happening. And we've all lived it, felt it. And we're still here in 2020. So I want to take it. Oh, Shauntavia, she muted herself. I want Shauntavia to take over for the first question. Hey, Renee.
Hey, y'all. So basically, I would just like for people to share their experience working in the industry, of how they experience like not being inclusivity. So regardless if it's Black people, Mexican, Asian, whatever, what are your personal experiences when it comes to seeing that this industry is not so accepting of others?
Yeah, let's direct that question first to Odis.
I remember back in the early days when I first started, I probably a couple of years in, I wrote to every modeling agency in Dallas. Campbell Agency, Dragonfly, Wallflower Management, all of them. And I got a response from like two of them. I think I got a response from Wallflower. They told me that, in other words, my work wasn't on their level. I don't know, something like that. It was something crazy. But anyway, Dragonfly, I actually got a call back from Dragonfly. Well, not a call, but a email, because I had messaged them a lot and they never answered me back. And I found the creative director. I found her email address and sent it to her. And she hit me back about 2, 3 weeks later. Say, okay, well, send me some of your work and we'll see if we can. I just wanted to test. I didn't want to work for you. I just want to test some of your models. And she hit me back. She's like, okay, yeah, we like your work. We'll let you know when we got some test models. We need to. So I didn't hear nothing back from them. So about 6 months later, she hit me again. She's like, yeah, could you send me over all your stuff? By that time, I was like, you know what? I already did that. I'm not going to do it again. But that whole aura, I don't know if it's a fear. Like, are you going to find out that we're better than you in what you do? Or is that fear? We just want to work with you. We don't want to take your job, Yeah. But that happens a lot in this industry. Even in our culture, yeah, the same thing. I don't want you to step on my toes, so now I'm not gonna let you come in. So yeah, I think we've all dealt with that.
Yep. Mavel, when can you think of? I wouldn't say when, but can you think of a most significant time that you like blatantly felt the racism while you were working?
I can always feel it. I'm gonna start from when I was at Skyline High School. We did the vocational industrial thing where you go out of town with a young cosmetologist that's in school, and we all competed against each other. And of course, my hairstyle has always been eccentric. So my hairstyle was like matted all the way to a bird's nest. So they really love big, boofy, bouffant kind of hair. So I was third. You know how they say, well, this person is winner up, this person is second winner up, this is first person, and now we finna judge everybody. So when they called everybody up there, I'm the only spec up there. So guess who didn't win? But my stuff did look better. But of course, I would say that because it's my stuff. But I did see the fact that once they noticed that it was my project and my doll head, that they kind of like, oh, we can't let her win over us because of the vocational thing. And of course, I felt like at that moment, I was like, why not? Because it's good work. You're supposed to give pointers to people who give good work, not who they are or the color of their skin. Because of course, yeah. So that's one of my experience. So if you want to know more, just ask.
So Rhea, I know that you coming from a different perspective, and you're, I'm gonna say, a little baby in the industry, but just in this short amount of time, have you experienced, like, have you seen, even if it's not personally, but have you seen those kind of situations where you know that someone of color wasn't getting respected because of their color of their skin in the beauty industry?
Definitely. I've actually lost that to things about that, on the fact that I didn't feel like they were respected. Honestly, they assume, like, people I work with, my coworkers assume that they're not there to see anybody there.
Yeah.
Either because they're too ignorant to think that everybody can't do anybody's hair, or they haven't looked at my Instagram, which obviously states that I have pretty much everybody. I pride myself on being able to take care of everybody, because where's your customer service at if you can't take care of everybody, not just people that look like you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've lost jobs. I've gotten into, I would say, respectful, constructive conversations, and hopefully have helped some people grow from situations like that, because those clients felt really, really disrespected. And I honestly was very angry that my client even felt that way and had to experience anything like that. Because I just think, like you said, we're in 2020 earlier. Like, what?
Yeah.
Can't take it. And there's also been tons of times where I've gone to hair shows and I've watched balayages where white women and white men are doing all these looks and doing platform work, yada, yada, yada. And there's like 3 people of color, and during their time, they're getting talked over, they're getting interrupted. Everybody in the back, everybody's gotten up and gone to the back to go look at products and go buy things. And then everybody's being super loud, being super disrespectful. There's been multiple times where I basically have had to step in during school. Even when you and I were in school together, there's been multiple times where I've had to step in when a instructor was being a little bit too much, and I'm like, hey, maybe we could go step aside and go talk about how, like, this is not okay. Yep. Maybe, I don't know. I could go on for days.
Yeah. That's one thing that I do remember, is that we've had it so much. I remember at the time that when Rhea came, and there was we had an influx of people coming in with natural hair, and there would be people who would go, I'm not doing that, and she's like, hold up, I thought we in school to learn how to do everybody's hair. Why is it that they get to choose not to do that? This is her saying that, and they're all took offense to it, but it's true. If you're in school to learn how to do universal hair, which is what it's supposed to be, why are you allowing people to choose who they can service or not? Right? So you're also teaching racism in the beauty industry because of that fact alone, So you're absolutely right. We can go on now. Hey, Willie. So we're going to take it to Willie. So Willie, so we were discussing a distinctive moment in your career where you experienced racism, and you have a bunch of stories, I know, but give us a good juicy one.
It has been a lot. I've had instances where people would compliment me, but then they would backdoor the compliment with something derogatory. Like I had a white lady come to one of my fashion shows one time, and she said, "Your show started on time and it was amazing, surprisingly." And I'm, and I don't have that balance. So I'm like, well, what the hell are you talking about? Why in the hell it got to be surprisingly? My shit was good, period. And she kind of looked at me because I didn't say thank you, and I actually said that to her. And she just was like, "Oh well, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm so sorry." I say, "Well, you already did that, so don't apologize. Thanks for coming." That's what I thanked her for. What else? I've had like so many different instances. I've had situations where I'd be approved corporately because I have a corporate approval to a lot of mainstream boutiques and stores in the city, and the store managers would try to shut me out. I've had one place where I was pulling from Club Monaco. The corporate office in New York was like, "Hey, you can take whatever you want, take our expensive pieces. We want it advertised." Well, when I got to the location and introduced myself to the store manager, it was like she saw a ghost. She ran to the back, stayed gone for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden that "you can take whatever you want" came to "you can only take 6 pieces, 6 items at the store. We prefer that you take our less expensive pieces in case something doesn't go back." So she's already put it in her mind that I'm gonna steal. And so I've had that happen.
Wow.
I've had somebody ask me one time when I came to an event, I was working a very big production, and I walked in and the person looked at me and they didn't say hi. They were just like, well, they actually asked me, "How did I get in here?" And, again, I don't have that mentality that a lot of people have. I said, "Through the door right here." And I just kept walking. And they just kind of looked at me.
I'm so mad at that.
I mean, I am one of them people. I'm not gonna lie to you. I tell everybody one thing about me is you don't have to like me for my color. You can dislike me all you want to, but you gonna respect me. Respect and liking are 2 different things. I'm gonna command my respect. I don't give a fuck. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't care if you like me or not. Sorry, y'all.
It's all right.
Hail Mary, Mother God, the Lord is with you. No, I mean, and that's just one thing. But I have had that happen before where people have tried to be disrespectful. And the thing is, I'm gonna command my respect.
Yeah.
So it's just, I have so many, man, from getting walked out of photo shoots, from being, when I show up one time and I guess the lady didn't realize that she was speaking to me on the phone. I guess I was giving her the AT&T voice that we know to do. And when I walked in and shook her hand, she just looked at me. She said, "Well, there's no African-American models here." And I'm looking at her like, I can dress anybody. Like I can put a shirt and some pants on anybody. Like I got these colors because y'all told me to get them. So I'm pretty sure I can put these on people. And I've been on set and one lady looked at me and she said, "Well, just make sure that it's nothing too hip hop-ish." And I'm looking at her like, what? Like you gave me a whole go-by sheet and an inspiration sheet for a CC's Pizza commercial. And I done showed up with all this stuff for the soccer mom y'all told me to dress and you telling me nothing hip hop. Like, really?
The disrespect.
You know what? I just kind of looked at it. My words now, when I look at people a certain way, they look at me, they say, "Oh yeah, he getting attitude." Yeah, I just learned to look at folks. I just was like, "Did you really just say that to me?"
Mm-hmm. With the straight face.
Yeah.
With the straight face. So so I'm gonna come back to Odis. Hold on. Figure out how to unmute you, buddy. Come back to Odis to touch on there you go, on another experience.
I used to that was a studio that I used to rent over in Dallas. I think it was East Dallas, West Dallas. Mavel, we worked in that studio. Actually, when you did your abuse thing you put on.
What was it called? Coup de grace.
The coup de grace, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a contract with that guy. It's a white guy. I had a contract with that guy at that studio for 6 months. And you remember that last rehearsal we had, Mavel? When like everybody showed up at the building that day. And after that day, I think I had like 2 more months left on that contract. And he had cameras in there. And because you remember that day, me and you, we got took it. I was mad. I was like, "Well, all these people up here, man, you gonna get me kicked out of here." And he did come. And that next week, he said, "Yeah, I looked at my cameras and I just saw a bunch of people." I'm like, "People, us, a bunch of y'all out," because the parking lot was full. You know what I mean? And I said, "Well, we were having a rehearsal for this thing we were doing. I was doing a shoot for them, or whatever." Anyway, he canceled my contract, right? Because he told me, "No, we can't have that here. We don't want all of those people at our studio and blah 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 blah." And I was like, "But well, what I have black people in here all the time. Yeah, but we don't mind one or two, but we don't want to. He said that, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't even want to shoot in your studio no more.
Wow, that's insane. So Shauntavia will chime in on this. So Shauntavia and I have worked all over and all the different fields that beauty, we've been in it. Okay. Theater, TV, film, commercial, print, salon, out the salon, in somebody's house. And we have probably experienced a lot of direct racism. I know I also have, because I've modeled since I was 4. And I was telling someone recently that probably in all of those years, I have never seen one person of color in the production company that I was modeling for. And some of these were large companies. I was just about to name them, but I'm going to stop. But large companies with national presence, and not one person of color was in the production team. And Shauntavia and I were working a show one time, and it was a racist show. I'm just gonna say it was Showboat. It is what it is. Everybody's seen Showboat, probably knows about the show Showboat, the movie, and it already has racial undertones in it. And they had the cast split by race, and so we had the white women chorus.
They actually called them that.
Yeah.
White people, black.
It said some of it said colors, but that's neither here nor there. The black chorus, white women chorus, and they were separated by race. And one of the actresses came in, and she was about
the skin tone of your daughter, Mavel.
Yeah, probably your daughter's skin tone. So she was not fair, but in between, and she had this dark, like muddy, like color swatch on her face. And she said, is this right? Like, are we is my makeup supposed to be this color? And she's not asking us. She's asking, because Shauntavia and I are only people of color. Avi is in here. So Avi, if you was there that day, mention it, because I can't remember. But we might have been the only people of color that day in the room. And they asked everybody who was white, because they're at this point superior to us to a degree, right? One of the people who actually is supposed to have been in charge is going, and we're like, no, hello, like, because I mean, if I'm supposed to wear it, I guess, but, and they go, let me find out for you, because me and Shauntavia waiting on the answer, because we're like, obviously this is a no. This lady is not about to be clearly wearing blackface, but everyone else seems to think that this is like, oh God. So she walks out, and it's dead quiet. And Shauntavia said, because Shauntavia volunteered to say, you know what, while you doing that, let me go downstairs to find the person in charge to get the answer myself. So she leaves, and one of the older ladies comments and says, well, you would think that they would want that. So I said, they would want what? And she says, well, because during that time, they were that color. And I said, like ain't your mama? And she said, well, yeah, with a straight face. So I get dead quiet because everybody knows I'm ignorant. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna wait till Shauntavia come back. We're in a room that has nothing but mirrors. So we can't even really have facial expressions because people can see them. And I'm sitting there fuming. I'm hella annoyed. And Shauntavia finally comes back, and I tell Shauntavia, like, because I'm like, girl, this lady just said da 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 da. And as the moment Shauntavia come back, another actress comes in with lighter makeup and says, wait a minute, I think we have the wrong makeup. And we went, oh, okay, y'all, they switched the makeups up, right? Obviously, they switched the makeups up. thinking this is over. She leaves, and then she repeats it while Shauntavia is in the room. I would think that they will want them to wear that. So she says it again, and Shauntavia went off. She was like, excuse me, what did you say? She said, well, you know, because my people, some. And Shauntavia was like, okay, so the people that your family owned was that color. And I'm sitting there like, abort. I kept saying, abort. And Shauntavia was like, I'm never avoiding this conversation.
Oh, I went in. I was like, I'm so done. I said, I'm tired of people always just, you know, Africa. I went into it. Africa is a continent.
Africa is a continent.
Yeah.
Like, there's white Africans, black Africans, Asian Africans. She just went to the whole history. And the lady is just sitting there just like, well, I was thinking. And, you know, Shauntavia was like, you don't think. Just shut up.
Like, stop thinking.
Don't say nothing else the entire show. Mind you,
all the black women who were raped. I have family members, great grandparents who were raped. Like, we're not all the same skin tone. The continent of Africa is full of different people of different skin tones and backgrounds and everything. So stop. Mm-hmm. I was just so annoyed. And then how she was telling it to us, not as a suggestion, as if she knew. And that's, I guess that's what gets me the most, is that they always want to tell me how to feel about me as a black woman, or us how to feel about us. And just, I mean, anybody from anything that you choose, like from any lifestyle, if you're Hispanic, if you're Asian, they always trying to tell us how to feel about us. And so that's what, that right there just took me over the edge. Plus, I was just fresh from maternity leave. You know, anybody could get it, you know. No.
Yeah. Honestly, that started again before the show even started. So we had to make it another 3.5 hours with the people who think like this, right? In a show that is already racist in itself naturally. And I think, which is about to bring me to my next point, and I'm going to bring Ellie in because Ellie is here. I want to bring her in on this too. I think that people hide racism in our industry as being art, right? Because they'll say, well, it's an art, and how you perceive it and you interpret it is beautiful, and these stories need to be told, and and it's not really racism. It's art. It's what people's perception of that is. And my thing is, blackface is not. It's just there's no. It's not a perception. It's a feeling. It is should have been non-negotiable because that's not art. Right. But to have this conversation so blatantly in front of our face, I literally, Shauntavia knows me. When something becomes too much for me, where I know that I'm going to get ignorant, I completely pass out in my mind. I pass out, I ignore you, and I no longer can hear you because I am so enraged and see nothing but red because I could not believe the conversation. And afterwards, we were told by the supervisor, or I don't even remember if Shauntavia was, I can't remember because she was so angry. She might not even remember this happened, that we have to learn how to ignore and do our job. See, and
we always have to adjust for everybody else. But no one has to adjust for us. I want to hear what Mavel was thinking. She said she wanted to add something to the conversation.
Yes, there you go.
I'm gonna add to the conversation. When I used to work for International Beauty School over in Garland, Grand Prairie, it was Garland, I believe. And every time I used to instruct, because I am versatile, I started out on Caucasians because I went to Skyline and I didn't have no choice because we had to work in a facility that did payroll. And see, back in the day, you know, our facility didn't have payroll like sure cuts, pro cuts, and all of that sorts. So I worked in the school, and every time I would do different things, like do zero haircut or instruct my students or whatever, she would say, "Oh, Mavel, you running around here just like my little puppy at home. Oh my God, you got so much energy, just like my puppy. So I used to hear it, I used to hear it, and then I ignore it, and then I'd be like, she don't really know that what she's actually comparing me to an animal. But okay, maybe I am hyper like her little Chihuahua dog or whatever. Maybe I am, but she cannot keep comparing me to no animal. So the next instances that she did do that, she was like, girl, you running around here just like a monkey. And I was like, skirt. Let me tell you something, ma'am. It's your last time telling me that I'm comparing me to a monkey. I am a complete human being, and I'm not a monkey. And I think 2 weeks later, I quit, and I left my mama there as a receptionist. Sure did. I couldn't take it no more. You cannot compare me to an animal. I'm a human being. And it's a lack of respect that she was giving me in front of the students.
Wow.
So if they looking at me like a dang on animal, they're not going to respect me. I'm a human being teaching them my skills.
Wow.
So I just hit that. Mm-hmm. I'm back on.
This okay. I'm going to bring in, Ellie and the Alderman is in here. I'm going to take off Odis and Rhea just for a second, but I want you guys to stay on and listen, because this leads me into this conversation that I want to read a post from somebody that we all worked with. And probably when I read it, y'all going to know who it is, but that's neither here nor there. And to get y'all thoughts on that. So give me just a second. Let me add these people in. I feel fancy and stuff. Hold on, let me get so we have let me do your introductions real quick. We have Ellie Leal, hairstylist, makeup artist, also the image director, correct, of J3 Productions, and then the Alderman himself, Florence, paparazzi couture, stylist, costume designer, all those good, wonderful things, activist. Pretty much everybody on here is activist at this point. So let me read to y'all. I'm gonna try to pull it on the screen, but I want to read to y'all this comment that was on social media. So this comment before I started was in relation to this. Y'all remember this from H&M? Mm-hmm. The whole coolest monkey in the jungle. Okay, so this is one of the comments that someone put. Let me go pop that up there. So it says, but I see things for what they are. That is my choice. My choice is to raise my child without limitations. My choice is not to be influenced by others' naive opinion. My choice is to maintain business relationships, friendships, company, companions, sexual intercourse, conversations, and any other type of human interaction with anyone despite the color of their skin. So maybe, just maybe, this image of a ridiculously cute boy in a cute green shirt by H&M and your perception is different than others, but that is the beauty of everything. People choose to perceive things the way they want, right? Then it was followed up with some other stuff that said, but I choose to not see things in color. I do not see things in race, excuse that, but I copied it exactly how it's typed. Gender or religion. I'm non-white Jew. I completely understand how it feels to be part of segregation and abuse. So here's my question and things. Or here's my spill and then my question. I don't think people in our industry, which is why we're having this conversation, and this person may or may not be watching. They were at one point, I saw. And to say that when we have our own experience, that is our perception, right? Let me go to, because I know Ellie knows who this is, so you ain't got to shout the person out, but I know Ellie knows, so I want to hear Ellie first. Because this is the thing, everybody on here is not Black. We have biracial people in here, we have people who are non-Black, and we value everyone's opinion. But because we are in the beauty industry, that's the reason why we're talking about beauty. It's not because we don't think racism as a whole is bad. We just know that we have to start with change, and we can only change what we are directly involved in. And we're starting with our industry first. So I want to hear from Ellie. What do you think about this comment?
Okay, so I'm on mute. Yep. So I'll say, well, everybody knows I don't agree with the comment. But I'll say what shocks me most is in private scenarios, this person has claimed to be a person of color or, Black or Moroccan or Latin descent like myself. Like, so what I'm saying is you can't pick and choose when you're a person of color. I know that I'm a fair-skinned person, but anybody who's ever worked with me knows that if you work with me, I say that I represent people of color, people of trans experience. So for this person to pick and choose when they are, of ethnic descent, it just shocks me. This person also claims that their child is half Black, you know? So at the end of the day, your son is going to grow up and experience this. And it's your job to educate them, even if that's not your experience. So everybody knows I don't agree at all. At all. I love that person. I mean her no harm, but she knows I don't agree. It's not right.
Okay, Shawn, do you need me to reread parts of it, or you think you're good on responding with that about that comment?
Oh, I'm good on respond. Hey, how's everybody doing?
All right.
I think when we look at that word perception and we say somebody else's perception, we have to realize that perception is a person's reality. So the part of understanding and being an empathetic human being is understanding that sometimes your words or the way that we say things or the way that people perceive certain instances, we have to take those into account, even though they may not be our experiences, may not be our beliefs, but we have to be empathetic around the people that we're around. And I just don't think that being able to shut out somebody's experience by looking at that picture and saying, oh, you just looking at it the wrong way, it's fine to me. But if it's, especially in the industry where you market things to people and you want people to spend the dollars with your product, you have to be careful about, separating your audience and, promoting certain images that, that could be offensive. That's the lightest way I could.
And as a person, because Shawn also teaches too, when you're thinking about the history of the word monkey, just
my kids can't even wear anything with monkeys on it. Don't give them no gift with no monkey on it. We're not buying no monkeys in the house. I ain't even putting them on their bed and stuff. Animals. Burn the monkey, okay? No monkeys.
Ain't no monkey jumping in the bed. We're not even singing that song, okay? Throw the whole song away. Right? So we think about the word monkey and how it has been carried in our culture, unfortunately, specifically apes, right? The whole history about how they sexualize the ape, right? Because of, to be very transparent, the large genitalia of an ape, right? And compare that to the large genitalia of our Black men. And that whole sexuality, bestiality thing became a way to mark us as aggressors, So even if you didn't experience Google, you can. We didn't have Google. We barely had Yahoo search, and Yahoo wasn't telling us nothing. Y'all got Google that also in Google has a separate thing for just citing, right? So if you're doing a research paper, Google has a separate thing that you can go in there and research just about anything. So for you to say, well, it's art and it's just a perception, no. Just no. Rita says she wants to comment on this, so I'm gonna drop off Willie, bring her in, and then I want Willie to come back in and answer that. Give me just a second.
Odis wants to speak too.
Okay, yeah. All right.
So can I just start?
Yes.
So I love the same redundant white people rhetoric that just gets spouted off that it's my perception. It's a perception of a fucking racist. Excuse me. If that offends you, then the shoe fits. to be upset about it. But honestly, like you said, Google, books. I have tons of books that I can lend you so you could grow. You know what I'm saying? It's not, okay, blackface got started because of racism, and personally, racism got started because of jealousy. So, like, how can we be the superior race if we can't even stay in the sunlight for longer than 20 minutes without sunblock? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the basis of the issue. And you want to talk and you want to put people under you and put you in a place of power. And, you know, a lot of people that I enjoy checking are the ones that say it's part of my culture. It's something I grew up with. This flag, it stands for my heritage. Well, number one, supporting a flag that stands for your Southern heritage, which personally, in my opinion, that flag has nothing to do with it. That flag literally stands for racism. And the people who fought in the Southern War, there's tons of people who have been able to grow. There's tons of people who have gotten their rebel flag and their swastika tattoos covered. You have the ability to grow. You're choosing not to. You're choosing like that's my bringing back to the whole beauty industry thing. People not knowing how to do everybody's hair. It's like you're choosing not to. You've been bred as a white person to have this mindset of a systematic racism ideology, basically, that you can only protect yourself from this danger that basically has been brainwashed to you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're literally hitting your head up against the same wall, and then you're like, I wonder why my head hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. That the whole perception, it's somebody's perception, is completely BS, and I love to call it out every single time because. Okay, so when you were a kid, you had a favorite TV show. What was all your favorite cartoons? Like Blue's Clues, Bear in the Big Blue House, you know, and maybe you had one show that you absolutely hated, or you had a band that you absolutely hated, and you can go back and revisit that and maybe be like, maybe I could like it now. Like if you really just take the small steps to understand that systematic racism and social injustice and racial injustice is a thing, and it's literally everywhere because you don't want to remove yourself from that bubble. No, that's your perception because you want to stay in the comfort zone.
That's true. I want to read y'all a post. I would have to read y'all a post that Rhea did that had me bent over. Okay, she shared a post that was about. It said, "Dear white people, keep that same energy when the protests are over." And she said, "Y'all should have been doing this. If I see you on some racist shit after protest, I will fight you." The difference between you and these hands is these hands don't discriminate. This one right here. This is she all day. This is all she do is fight. She can't stand it. So
including my family, including
yeah.
friends, I don't care who it is. It is past the time. You need to grow up. You need to grow up. I'm done. And the main reason I'm fired, okay, so like I have to keep it balanced because I don't want to silence anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a huge problem too with a lot of white people is silencing Black voices when this is literally the fight. You know what I'm saying? And we have to keep that in mind, but also to see my friends that have been warriors for years and constantly talking, constantly sharing all these things that I've gotten my knowledge from. You know, for them to be burnt out infuriates me, and it gives me chills right now. For people of color to be so tired that they don't want to talk about it anymore, so tired that they can't even do the simplest of fucking tasks like eating ice cream in your house. I personally am so sorry that, and it infuriates me that number one, fear, number one, uncertainty and protection. Mm-hmm. That you deserve and love that you deserve from literally everybody on this planet, but people are too ignorant to grow. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate that comment. You said that Odis, you wanted to chime in, so let me drop off real quick and add him in. Y'all know I'm sensitive. I'm over here crying and stuff. Go ahead, Odis.
Hey, I just want to say, you know, the person you're talking about that made that post, you know, we all got a lot of the same friends on Facebook, and I saw that, and I saw how they came for it. They came for it kind of hard, and I almost had a little empathy for her, and I was going to write her in the media and say, hey, you know what, don't let her. But then I thought about it, no, because I've seen some of the posts that some of our mutual friends that are, you know, on the other side. I've seen some of the posts, and it came to my mind that, you know, you can't choose when you're going to use your privilege to benefit you. You just because you got a lot of black friends and you work with a lot of black people, that doesn't make you apologetic to the black plight.
Yeah.
All the time. You can't say, okay, well, I'm gonna be cool with you today, but when this situation come up and I'm with my peoples, I'm gonna identify as this today and not this. You know what I'm saying? And that happens a lot with a lot of the people that we're mutual friends with on Facebook. Because I see a lot of posts, a lot of people, and I've unfriended some. And not for the fact that I don't like them, but I don't want to see that across my timeline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just a point of note, you know, if you don't like what I got to say, if you want to unfriend me, that's fine too, because I probably wouldn't even know it, even recognize it. But you know, and I've seen a few others that do the same thing. They pick and choose when they want to be cool with the culture.
Yeah.
When the culture is benefiting them. Because a lot of white people there, and I see it every day on my job. And this is one message to white people, please. And this is all my white friends. It is not cool to reiterate to me that you got black friends and that you like black people. That is one thing that makes me say you're racist. You just don't want me to know you're racist, but you're basically telling me you're racist.
Well, my boyfriend's black and my son is black.
My nephew is biracial and my brother is married to a black woman. We don't care.
We don't care. I did not ask you for that information. We weren't even talking about your brother-in-law or your family. So why did that even come up? You don't have to feel the need to tell me that you are in allegiance with black people, because all that says to me is that, all that says to me is that, okay, you're closet racist, but you want me to feel comfortable around you. You don't have to tell me stuff like that for me to feel comfortable around you. All you got to do is just act like a normal freaking human being, and I feel comfortable around you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, I tell this people all the time. You would not be my friend as a white person, and I think you're racist, right? I don't need to thank you, shout you out, because my white friends are out here getting on everybody's tail, right? It goes without saying. In fact, they don't want me to thank them, praise them, give them kisses, because they know that it's beyond that, right? So the very fact that we even consider empathizing with a person who is racist, right, in our industry, because we are probably afraid to get jobs, is the literal problem, right? The whole point of this live is because it's just like we talk about this stuff amongst ourselves, because a lot of us are fearful to talk to them directly because we believe that it will cost us work, but they're not giving it to us anyway. So what's the point?
And I'm gonna say one other thing. I feel sorry for some of these kids that are being adopted into white families that have that stigmatization that, you know, you're my child, I love you, but I'm only going to use you when it benefits me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, if I have some white friends that adopted or have black people in their family. If you're quiet about everything else, but then you only come out when everything gets heated and you want to say, okay, well, I got a black child, you can't tell me how to think. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. Don't use your child, don't use your black child to put you in a position to talk about race, to make you feel comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. Let me shed some little light, and I want to get Willie and the Odis thing. So I was doing some research, have been doing some, and There was in a Nielsen survey that said that Texas now has the largest population of African Americans and tops the nation in African American buying power. Did y'all know that? Texas. So in Texas, in one of the most racist states in the country, in a place that brings me to this next thing, that there was a post that someone said that they went and did a search in Texas and there wasn't one person of color, not one Black person specifically, that was signed to an agency. Yet in Texas alone, we have the top buying power, but we have no one who is part of the advertising agencies or companies that create these commercials and things. We don't have one person who is currently signed of color in Texas. Willie, since you work with a lot of agencies, can you shed some light on your thoughts on that?
I am so sorry. Can you repeat the question?
So the question is, why do you think that with Texas having leads the nation in African American buying power, right? We lead the nation in just a lot of things, but that specifically in Texas, why you think that there are not one person of color signed to an agency here?
And when you say agency, are you talking about like modeling agencies or
not modeling?
acting?
I would say as far as on the creative side. On the creative side.
As in
art, like makeup artists. We couldn't find one makeup artist or one hairstylist that
color that was signed.
It's currently signed. Yeah, we know plenty of people who has been, because we all have been, right? Shauntavia. Yeah. I know. Ellie has, right? Yep. A lot of us have been signed, but we couldn't find one that's currently. And I know you got your ear to the streets. So how many?
Okay.
So we know you got your ears to the streets. If you were to count out of 30 artists that are signed on the creative side, how many do you think are a person of color?
Actually, probably none.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing about it, and I tell all of us, because I've been doing this since '98, is, it can be kind of challenging for us, but as people of color, we got to learn how to turn obstacles to opportunity. A lot of my people of color that get into the beauty industry are talented and creative, and they get in the room. Some of them don't know how to stay in the room, because I will admit, and I hate to say this, my biggest issues have been artists of color. Y'all know my biggest pet peeve: not responding to emails, books being not complete, not showing up on time, canceling last minute, not being available. It's a lot of things too that. It's not just the white man's fault that we're down. Sometimes we have to look at our own selves in certain areas, because they can hate us all they want to. So many people will dislike me because of my color and positions I get in certain rooms and certain tables. But on the flip side, I'm gonna make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted. So if you do try to come at me, or you do try to, do some systematic racism, it will not overshadow my work ethic.
What I'll ask you this question, then I'm going to take it over to Shawn. Let's move to the model. Let's give a little bit to models being placed in not just fashion shows, but in ads and all those kind of things. Why, or do you feel, because this is just me, I feel like there's always a one or two sprinkle. And I work with you a lot, and I know that you are very adamant that if you do a job, that you have to be able to bring on models, specifically Black models. And there's a reason for that, right? Because going into that there probably won't be any. Do you feel that there is a responsibility of the person of color who has some kind of authority, and they are helping choose models that look like us?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be? Yeah. Being a man of color and doing what I'm doing, and being, blessed and fortunate to be able to do the jobs and work with the agencies and clients that I get to work with, I don't play the game of bragging about being the only person at the table that looks like me. It bothers me, when I say I'm the only Black person. But what's crazy is a lot of Black people get a kick out of saying I'm the only Black person. I have all white models. I'm this, I'm that. No, that shit don't impress me. I'm impressed when I see people that look like me doing an amazing job at the table. And so I know what it's like doors was shut in my face so much that I just created my own. You know, I created my own table that anybody can sit at. And I invite everybody. Mostly I invite the underdogs. Let me know that you've been shut out. I'm going to make sure that you get seen.
Yeah.
Let me know that you overlooked. I'm going to make sure that you overbooked. You know, so that's just what I do.
I want to add something.
Yeah.
Just listen to what Willie said. And I understand that, you know, everyone needs to have you need to have a standard. We need to be on time. We need to emails and this and that and the other. The thing that bothers me, and I'm not giving us excuses, is that with being one of the few people of color and being surrounded with a majority of white people, I see white people given chances. You know, I see them come in high. I see them come in drunk. I see them smoking weed on the job, and it's overlooked. But the moment a Black person is tired or they don't talk as much and they're not as smiley, then they have an attitude. That's the part that gets to me. It's like it's nitpicked to death to keep us out. And so they're able to get so many chances.
Yeah.
Like they can come in ill prepared, not knowing what to do, not having the tools that they need, but they will be booked again. The moment that we sneeze wrong, you're never coming back. I will blackball you out of this whole industry. That's the problem that I have. And then also talking about, you know, having models. I remember being in a room during the casting, and there were just a few Black models, and this was for an African Fashion Week.
Yeah.
There was not one Black model modeling for African Fashion Week. Not one. And then when they were walking and auditioning for it, the casting people were turning up their nose every time the Black model turned around and had a butt.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
At African Fashion Week.
At African Fashion Week. And so you have all these white models, blonde hair, blue eyes, and a lot of them were actually wearing turbans and African prints. But how are you going to have an African Fashion Week with no Black models?
Can I?
Yeah.
You know what? That's where a lot of the problem is. Like my biggest issues, I've had certain, you know, white people try to do things to me, you know, but I can deal with that. To tell you the truth, my biggest issues and the people that have always tried to keep me out have always been Black people. Other Black people in the industry that might have their foot in the door, those are the ones that would try to shut me out. The person that asked me, how did I get in here one time? He was a Black person. The person that tried to stop my whole career when I was 23, that told people not to work with me because they said I'll never go anywhere. So they started trying to come against me in Dallas. He was a Black person.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a lot of those designers, like, and I don't give a damn. Them African Fashion Weeks and all them damn designers, they do not like working with Black models. My biggest people that I always want white models are normally Black ass designers because they don't know what they're talking about. They think that, but you know, again, systematic racism has us thinking that if it's white, it's right.
Yeah.
You know, if you have all white models, then your show is gonna be amazing. Because I have been to shows and them girls will be average white girls looking a mess, and because all the models were white, all of a sudden your show is perfect when your show looked like shit. You know, I'll be real. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen where you have these gorgeous, tall Black models that are just killing it, and people try to, you know, downplay it. I remember a club in Dallas. I don't know if y'all remember that fashion show where the owner tried to stop a fashion show because it was too many Black models in the show, and he was scared that the models were going to invite their friends, and he told the Black models, you can't invite your friends here.
Yep.
And they was trying to force that dude to find white models like right then. So, you know, it's crazy. You know, I hate that. But yeah, I remember the African Fashion Week, and, you know, because I hate to say this, a lot of those designers, I work with a lot of African designers and people like that. Those are the main ones that say, can you get white models? Can we have more white people? Because a lot of times they're taught to impress white folks if you want to make it in America.
I remember, and I'm gonna bring Shawn in. I remember Shauntavia and I did Shawn's show at the Bass Hall. Right? It was Bass Hall, I believe, in Fort Worth one year with that was just me. Sorry. The one we did at Bass Hall, and the ballerina, forgot her name. Shawn, let me unmute you. What was her name?
Kelsey.
Kelsey. And I remember, because Shawn is a designer who typically does mostly Black models for his shows. And I remember, and I'm sure you had conversations and people might have felt like that you bringing these models in Fort Worth at the Bass Hall wasn't going to work. And these people cried at his show.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Talk a little bit about your experience of hiring Black models and putting on these productions and what kind of conversations you've had on the back end with that.
That was my main obstacle when coming out as a Black designer, like in the industry, coming into the industry, is trying to maintain the integrity of who I was a designer and not try to go so into mainstream with the already preconceived notion of what beauty was and these standards of what beauty was. And it was funny because I was on a conversation like this a couple of weeks ago, and it was with fashion editors, magazines, different creatives, and they invited me on to be on a panel. And so one of the ladies that was a fashion editor for a magazine, she got up and talked about, she was like, everybody wants these European hips, this European waistline. She was like, because the European body is so perfect and it's the best, it's shaped the best for clothes. Now this is on a call about diversity and problems with race and the fact, and she said that, not knowing that was in itself the whole problem of what we were trying to get over there in this cause, because the industry has put this image in her head that this is the standard of beauty. This is what beauty looks like. So when I came in and started doing shows, and a lot of when you first come in as a designer, you do these shows where people you come in, you bring your clothes. Well, most of the time when I go up to that was probably why I became not so popular in a lot of these certain fashion circles that people kind of get. I would say groomed to go into, because I always went against the grain. Oh, those the models y'all. Oh, y'all want me to have all those? I'm out of the show because I'm gonna bring my own models. I want my own people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call Willie. I'm gonna get him to give me some Black girls. None of these girls, they got no booty. They don't got no shit. And that was the thing. I wanted my clothes to be a reflection of the people that I saw growing up. I wanted my clothes to be a reflection of different body types. So I use different types of women in my show, different body types, different races. And that's just because I believe fashion and beauty has no subjective sets, form. And the fact that we have been conditioned to think it does, it has hurt a lot of designers. So those who go against that grain and do this, sometimes they are pushed to the side. Because I know sometimes, even when I started doing agency work as a stylist, I realized I had to stop it because I wasn't getting those jobs. Even though I was signed to the agency, I wasn't getting those big magazine jobs, even though I knew I was one of the best people on the roster. But it was people like Shauntavia said, would show up drunk, show up, doing all these other things, and they would get booked again and again and again. And then their work was subpar. And it was like, okay, this is how the industry works. So like Willie said, I created my own table. I started producing my own shows. Yeah. Oh, this is how you want to do your show? Okay, I'm going to go over here and get Bass Hall and do my own show. And I'm going to do it like this. And so, like you said, we have to create our own visions, our own products that cater to our people in a direction. I'm not saying shut everybody else out, because if you're a business owner, we don't want to become so closed in our market that we do the same thing that other people have done to us. But just show the pride that's lacking in the market through what we put out.
I agree. We on a live when we did with Ellie, she was talking about that notion of the standard of beauty. We're gonna let Ellie chime in on some of the stuff that we discussed thus far. But you being an image director, and having to create these images that people are going to see, what have you noticed as far as the trend of what people believe is the standard?
I do think it is biased for sure. I will say, like, to piggyback on what y'all just said, even myself, I will say, like, I show up early, like 30 minutes every time, like I will do double what most people do, and other people do that are, fairer than me, lighter eyes, blonde hair, that I was assisting would show up an hour late, an hour and 20 minutes late, and I would be hired to just do the colored models basically, and then the rest of the time I'm there to stand around. So people did utilize me and my skill set to just benefit them temporarily, but I never was, like he said, offered real gigs or real jobs, and it sucked because for me, the agency that I was a part with, they have a transgender child. So I just assumed, being Latin and trans, you're gonna root for me, girl. And she wasn't. So to piggyback on Willie, it's like, I will say the most racist back room I ever worked in was an African American, designer. And we talked about that on our call, is I was more hurt that he was Black and he allowed it to happen the whole time. And as a matter of fact, he, in my opinion, instigated it, because there was 6 Black models there and the rest were all white. So we were all given, the people that chose to be proud and Black, we were given 6 models amongst each other to stand around. And then there was a team of people who worked way slower than us, without the same skill set, did not even know the reference of the Bantu knots that we were doing. And we're supposed to be helping them, but instead they were given a whole other side with better air conditioning and better tables, and even the key artist backstage was biracial. So at the end of it, it's me standing here with a group of Black people, and we have to choose that we have to either uphold ourselves morality, and just say, what, I stand by what I stand by, and if this limits my amount of work, it does. And we did do that, but I'm just saying that is a fear in the industry. And I will say, I utilize a lot of Black models, and therefore I'm not casted a lot, or I have been suggested to get more white girls in my book, particularly redhead, particularly blonde, particularly freckles. And the thing is I didn't grow up seeing tons of white women aside from the people in my family. My mom is beautiful. I do love her. My aunts are beautiful. I do love them. And I do utilize people too that look like them. But I grew up in an area where it's predominantly Black. A woman that took me in when I was 14 was Black. So I admire that culture. I think they're stunning. And if I see a girl that's unique and different, and I know that she's being underused, I take pride in being like, oh my God, I'm going to make everybody see this girl. But I know that everybody doesn't see that. So when I think about standard of beauty, I do think it's internal, but I do think that it's, our responsibility, all of us. Just like I take pride in defending every single one of you that I'm looking at, I would hope that they would take pride in defending somebody like me too, because you've met somebody like me and you've experienced to know that there is something deeper than just what you're physically seeing in front of you. I am attached to a soul, my being is bigger than this. So I think that if we appreciated each other's souls more, and when you introduce yourself to someone, be willing to receive their energy, I think that, we would start to appreciate each other more. I don't just seek someone out because they're Black, but if she's Black and she's stunning, I'm sorry, she's Black and she's stunning. There's nothing I can do about it. If she's Hispanic and she's stunning, I talk about this all the time. Me being Hispanic, I feel like it's my obligation. For every 10 white models, there's 3 Black models. For every 10 white models, there's 1 Hispanic model. So I don't even ever get to see someone that looks like myself on set. I might get to do a Black man. I might get to do a gorgeous Black girl. I might get to do an Indonesian girl or a Indian girl or a Pakistani girl. But I've never, ever, ever on set, especially if it was a paid job, I've never got to do a Hispanic Latina girl. Never.
The only time I ever done that was for a makeup company. And that specifically was like, okay, we need to have one of each person.
And that's a problem. That's a problem. It shouldn't be like, we shouldn't say, oh, let's check it off. We should admire people for what they bring to the table, And I talked about on my last call, when I worked with Symbology, I take pride in knowing that when we casted or when she wanted to do that, she could care less about what any of these people looked like that she was casting. But every single person had to either represent, the community she was trying to embrace, or they had to be an ally. You know, they had to have a deeper story that was connected to just, oh, wow, they look good in my garments, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that to touch base on that, I'm not holding tons of people accountable, but use your platform wisely. If you know that you have tons of people looking at you and you know that you are African American or you are trans or you are Latin or whatever, make sure that you're opening a door for somebody. You know, the truth is, Willie Johnson's the first person that ever opened a door for me. You know, so that, you know, I had to rely on the fact that I had another person who was different to receive me, you know, when the truth is I'm a professional. So I just think our unity is important, all of us, and being able to stick up for each other when we're not present is important. And I think that people should take power in that. They should be less scared. I walked away from that same agency. I demanded respect. It wasn't given to me. I no longer want to be a part. I don't want your money. All money is not good money, and everything that glitters isn't gold.
You know what? In fact, this is in fact the show that Ellie was talking about too as well. That was the first show that we all were fed up. So we all spoke up, and it was not received well. It received a very because this is the thing. It was a show that was supposed to be Bantu knots that they called tiny ponytails, and then went on to explain to us, a room full of people of color who, in fact, I think I might have had Bantu knots the day I showed up, who had Bantu knots, to explain to us that we were doing them wrong. And my thing is that if you are going to be someone who is going to use things that are specific from someone's culture, you need to do your research. And in fact, you need to be able to listen, like Ellie said. If you're going to do that and you see people who are there who wear their hair like this, they mama's taught them how to do, you have to respect that. But the problem is you bring us in to say that we're here. You brought us in to say that we're here, to say that there was some inclusion, and that you covered all your bases. You didn't bring us in to respect us, and that's the issue that we're having, right? I want to show something real quick, and then we're going to talk on it. So I brought mostly let me see if I got all my hair and makeup people in here, and then Shawn knows a little. So there was this post by Manny MUA a couple years ago that he had turned down a job of beauty blender. And he has said that he turned down this job promoting their new foundation because he didn't believe that they were inclusive enough with the shade range. And he was like, you know what's worse than turning down thousands of dollars is feeling like your color doesn't matter. So I know Shauntavia's worked for a cosmetic company that discontinued colors that her own color. So she works for a company who discontinued the color that she wore, and they expected her to continue to work, to sell their product. Okay. It's not that hard. There are a few companies who tried to change the wave in the 90s. Bobbi Brown, Lancome was one of them, NARS, but that is like 3 out of hundreds of brands that barely touch the surface on trying to make colors that cover the whole wide range. But you know why they didn't have to make that? Because there was no representation, right? So I'm looking at, I'm looking at Black people specifically buying power for between 90 and I want to say 2008 was somewhat about 1.3 trillion. It was like triple. 9 times, I'm sorry, I said triple. I had to look at the statistics. 9 times more buying power. We spend 9 times more money in the beauty industry than any other person. And in fact, Nielsen decided to create ethnic research because of the fact that they could not understand that every time they were doing statistics that we were skyrocketing, but the market didn't reflect that. So what do y'all think could be the change? How could we create an atmosphere or create a product? I know, Mavel, you've tried, right, to create a product that could work for everyone, but specific for Black people. What kind of, I wouldn't say backlash, but Did you receive any kind of trouble creating a product specifically for people of color?
Yes, it is. I would say my difficulty thing is we have different scalp. We, Caucasians have over sebaceous glands on their scalp, and we have over sebaceous glands on our face. So we have to make sure that our scalp is moisturized, and so putting moisturizer in with something that's supposed to strip oil, it doesn't mix. There's no way. So whenever you see the product out there that says you got shampoo and conditioner in one, they both can't work and do the same thing. You can't put in and take out at the same time. That's not how anything goes. That's not how none of this goes. So I have learned that we are the same, but our skin textures are different. They have some oily sebaceous glands on the scalp, so they have to continue to cleanse their hair every 2 to 3 days. We don't have to shampoo our hair every 2 to 3 days because it'll dry our hair out to where our hair will pop. So that's the difference in between the sun shining on us in the south and the sun shining in the north. So it does make a difference around the world. Well, it is the truth. So those are the different things that we come in. The difference is just going to be different. There's no way you can combine those two.
Yeah, I think people wanted to know. I remember when all of these natural hair products came out and people just why do y'all need your own product? Like, why do we have to explain, this science? Why is it such a pushback? We are spending trillions of dollars in the beauty industry trying to find a product that works for us. And when we finally start allowing and creating those products, then that's also a problem, right? We should have inclusive products. We can't. We don't have the same type of hair. Like, it's just not the same. But I will say it's not difficult to do Black people's hair. I'm going to ask Victoria because she, when people say, because their hair is just hair, Mavel used to say this all the time, hair is just hair, right? Even though the hair is different, some is curlier than others, would you agree that hair is just hair? Like, if you can do hair, you can do anyone's hair. You just have to do your research.
Yeah, literally. It's just a choice. Like, to comment back what she was saying, the scalp, moisturizing the scalp, like you find all these things out when you're doing your research. You have to make sure that you're moisturizing the scalp and the ends, making sure that those ends are fully taken care of, how to actually do a curly cut, not a diva curl cut, but an actual go curl by curl and cut each curl and how to do protective styles. Some people are like, I can Dutch braid or French braid my own hair, but I can't do a protective style, which makes no absolute sense to me, because all it took was for me to listen to you or India, and I was on my way to learn how to do it. Whenever my friend Victoria Hamilton, she does embellished braids out in Fairview. She was doing faux locks on me because she wanted to gain that clientele out there. And at first I was like, I don't really know, man. Like, I'm not into that. And so that's why I asked everybody on my Facebook community. I was like, I have a lot of friends that I really want to hear back from. Like, what is your personal stance on that? Because, I want to help her grow her business. And she's asking me, I need your hair texture. And, everybody came up with, well, your hair won't be able to support that. Well, it's like, technically, if you put too much hair on kinky textured curly hair, it's also going to break. You know what I'm saying? It's just doing research and putting actual, everybody's hair is going to fall out if you're putting too much weight on it, if you're putting too much heat, if you're putting too much color. Like, it's science, number one. And number, a lot of people that I, work with, they have a very specific clientele, which is really cool, and I can dig that. If you want to do highlights all day, I love that about you, because I can take care of everybody else. And if it seems really hard for you and you want to have a very strict clientele, I totally respect that. But still be an ally, still be a voice, still a support. Hey, I might not do that, but hey, this person of color does, or hey, this brand, I know this brand, I have like 4 non-blondes I work here. She does blondes, like, and she does blondes for everybody. So like, she loves curly hair, and she loves, because she has curly hair, and she's gotten into getting into more curl products and figuring out what works best for her hair and for everybody's hair. And it's not like you're not incapable of doing that. It's somebody who really strictly loves blonding, and that's just something she's good at. Like, somebody might be good at cuts, somebody might be good at whatever. Like, I totally get it. But like, when it comes to a separation of I only want to do this and I won't do something, that's where I start to find the line of like what I said earlier. Where is your customer service? Why are you actually in the beauty industry? Why? Because I want to take care of everybody. I want to make everybody feel good. I want to, especially people of color, because like we're talking about earlier, you consistently and constantly face things that I don't comprehend and won't ever be able to comprehend. So why I should be able to take care of people, of anybody. You know, it's also a makeup artist. It took, oh my God, it took so long to find shades that I can do everybody's makeup, because like Fenty, yes, Juvia's Place, finally, you know, that's a great line. They have $20 foundations. It's good to recommend to everybody. It's pretty good for almost everybody's skin type. And they have a huge range, and it's a POC brand. So it's like, it's not that makeup artists, you have a choice. You really do. It's about looking into your heart, like putting in that research, putting in that time. Right now I'm working on finding classes so I can actually have texture specialists on my name and behind my name, because I want people of color to look at me, and because I still get, you're not able to do my hair, and I will never disagree. I will never make anybody feel like they should feel bad about saying that, because they have every right to feel that way. Personally, like with all the protests and riots and everything, it's valid in my opinion, but that's a whole other story. So like, I want somebody to feel comfortable that like Evan Joseph Curls, if y'all follow him on Instagram, he takes care of everybody, and he's a huge inspiration. He was one of the people that he was being talked over, and he was doing a person of color, and this chick had huge, beautiful, curly, like auburn hair, and he was spreading so much knowledge that, and it just blew my mind that nobody cared to listen, you know? It's like I said,
I agree. So there's a quote from Sam Fine that said, we're stuck in a place that is politically correct. Let's take it to a place that's real elastic. For example, every brand is launching 40 foundation colors now because it's trendy, right? It's trendy. Shauntavia, since we're constantly trying brands, right? We have our go-to, and we tried and we've gone back. As artists, it's a little easier for us because of the fact that we have palettes, you know, so they're coming in smaller wells, so we can have an opportunity to possibly either mix and make our own foundation, or you'll have palettes that get us pretty close. And even with those, we can still find brands that'll give us one line of just ashy that doesn't match anybody at all. And this is the first time that we bought a palette. Shout out to Deshaun Hatcher.
Yes.
Occlusion palette for Graftobian, which is one of our favorite brands anyway. And they got it right. But everybody in the world can't access that, right?
It's not just for people of color. It's extremely fair skinned and biracial. Like, you will never go into the store and be able to buy something off the shelf.
No,
it doesn't matter. Like, my aunt, who is very fair skinned, she's very yellow and pale. She can never go and buy a bottle of anything, you know. And I've had white clients who were so pale, even the whitest white made them look crazy. I was just like, what is this? So that needs to be helped across the board. Like, I know it's hard to put skin tone in the bottle, but create a system where people can add some undertone to something. I mean, some kind of way to make it better so we're not out here looking crazy. That's all.
We're not out here looking like terracotta bricks. Ava says color theory allows you to not worry about undertones or overtones. That is very true. And in fact, as an artist, that should be your goal, is to know color theory, whether it's hair, whether it's makeup, whether it's clothing, because you can't be a stylist if you don't know how to put clothes together, colors together.
Mavel she wanted to add.
Who did? I'm sorry.
Mavel.
Oh, yeah, girl, come on.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna piggyback on Miss Raya. Am I saying it right, Raya? Rhea. I was gonna say, when I became a cosmetologist, the cosmetologist included everything. It didn't give us a specific that we were supposed to do. We became cosmetologists to do nails, hair, makeup, massages. It includes everything. So when I became one, I didn't turn down nothing but my collar. I didn't care if you was blue, red, green. I wanted to work on you. I wanted to accomplish something. I wanted to see if I could make you different from when you came in. I didn't care what type of hair you had or anything like that. I just wanted to accomplish me controlling hair. So that's why when I used to say hair is hair, I win. I run hair don't run me. And that's the way I took on with dealing hair. I'm gonna make you obey. Yeah. I didn't care what type of texture it was. And that's why I love what I do. And that's why I include anybody. I just want to make everybody cute. I want to just do it all. And I don't want to turn down nothing but my collar. So when you call me, I'm able to say, I can do it. And if I can't do it, I learn to do it before I see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't want to be afraid to do anybody. I don't want nobody to be insecure in my chair. When they sit down, they're going to be like, oh, she already know what she's doing. Because I want that type of confidence inside of my client as well as it is inside of me. So that's why I was like, I understand where you're coming from. I just want to do hair. Hair is something that I love. I love to see people being beautified. I love to see that joy that come over people's faces when they feeling secure and attached to themselves and understand confident. That's the word I was looking for, being confident in who they are. Because once they leave confident, you can't stop or take nobody's who they are away from them. So the race of this world and all the things that are going on in this world, you can't take who I am away. You can't take the love away that I have. I love everybody. I treat people how you treat me.
Yeah, that's true. Willie had spoke on this previously. He was saying about how he loved when somebody, he styles somebody and they, feel like they looking good. And he said, what would he say, Shantae? He said one of his clients said he got married. Was it they got married because after he had styled them or found him a girlfriend?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when we doing people, it's about that feeling of confidence. Like I just to bring this back to I don't see color stuff. I can't stand it. It irritates my soul because we're in an industry where that's literally all we can. Like in the world, we don't have the option to take our skin off. We don't. We don't. I wake up and this is how I am. No one cares. In fact, if you biracial and you're dark enough for that person, they're only going to see you as black. They're only going to see you. You don't even have to go, well, I'm Cuban and black, or I'm Puerto Rican and black, or I'm, whatever. They don't care. We don't have that option to not see color. So I really think that in this industry, we got to stop saying that. We got to make a shift and hold each other accountable. As much as we can talk, I think sometimes, or not sometimes, most of the time, it can't be received by us. And it sucks. We can talk till we're blue in the face about our experience as artists, as experiencing racism and not having representation in the industry. But unless a white person speaks up, they ain't hearing it. It's going to come out as complaints. But I want to shift the conversation to solutions. What do you think we can do as a collective group of artists? We all have worked with each other for a very long time, or over the years. And we always talk about what we can do, but we haven't really came together. What do you think? And I'm going to start. We're just going to start at the top. We'll start at Shauntavia and go all the way down. What do you think is at least one thing that we can do to help push this narrative forward? What do you think?
I'm trying to think of how to. Okay, so definitely, I know when I had a drive to do commercial work and everything, my personal drive was because I got tired of seeing models, people of color that didn't look, their makeup was always so, or not given as much love, I know a lot of times for us, like Ellie was saying, portfolio, right? So it makes it hard, but some kind of way we have to definitely up the game on how we present ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then, like Willie was saying, the person who's in there have to be able to trust that who they're bringing in will act the part, will do okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because that's what makes it hard. I know a lot of people ask us about the theater and getting into the theater. And a lot of times I am hesitant because I know that you have to have a certain kind of tough skin. Like you can't be sensitive and the hours are long and, you gotta come with it sometime. And so it's like, are you really ready for that? And I hate feeling that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to see more of us in there. But it's like, I know that, like Willie has said, sometimes we aren't ready. So it's like, I guess us setting up mentorships to let people know that this is what it is. This is what it looks like. Because I know before working in theater, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Right? I didn't know working in commercial was a possibility. If I knew that I could make money doing those things, I would have never gone to get an undergrad and spend all that money on a master's degree. Yeah. I'm saying, like, that was a waste of my time, and I'm in debt. So what did I do? Nothing. I'm doing hair and makeup. Like, what? So if I had that opportunity and mentors and people that look like me and encourage me, and we can get together and produce bomb work. Yeah. And create those connections in corporate places. Yep. We need spokespeople who are able to toe the line. We have to have it, unfortunately. Yeah. So,
okay. What's your take, Ellie? What do you think? What do you think we can do or need to do to help push us a little further? Oh, let me unmute you, girl. There we go.
Oh, sorry. I do agree. Like mentorship would be great. I've gotten where I am because of great mentorship. So I know that it does work, but I think the people in power do have to take responsibility when casting, not to do it again because we have to make a checklist, but to genuinely be casting people that, deserve the role regardless of what they look like, So for me, I think the most important part is just giving the person or creating a space for these people. And then, like she said, making the transition from maybe where they were previously before to the road, getting there is a little bit smoother. I feel like the only reason why I was chosen with J3 is because I make the transition to what they were before to what they want to be smooth. And that's because I've had my own, success story of maybe not having such great life and having people that saw my potential and knew that I was different like them, or at least different in a way that they're different. And then they took me under their wing and they kind of taught me soft skills and ways to groom myself to be basically approachable in public. You know what I mean? Because the person you're seeing now is not who I was 5 years ago. So it took stronger people or people that have lived through it before me to kind of course, carve that path and make a place for me. That's why I think making a place is important. But then after they've made that place, then they basically kind of helped me along that way. So I think for me, it's just being proud of being able to say, hey, I don't agree. I don't care what the person looks like. And y'all know this about me. If I don't agree, I don't agree. Hey, I don't think that shade range works. I know that you keep telling me that it does, but it doesn't. And I've already tried it 16 times, sis. It don't work. And I do that in a back room. I've done that at a runway show before. It does not bother me because at the end of the day, the fact is the fact. And if we want it to change, then we have to put people on the spot. If you have to think about it, I mean, I'm sure you've been put on the spot as a gorgeous woman who's brown skin and wears, you know, natural hair, right? I'm sure Shauntavia Cheeks has dealt with it. I've dealt with it on set, wearing braids and being told that basically I wasn't brown enough to wear braids, and could the girl with the bangs please come back? You know, so think about that. I mean, it's all around, and the woman who told me that was a Black woman. You know, so that's why I think that we have to take pride in standing up. Did I change my hair out of respect for Mr. Willie because I respect his company and that I get to represent him? Yes, I did. You know, but did I take that personally? Yes, I did. You know, and I've never ever experienced or tried to change my hair again because of that. I've changed color or whatever, but I am afraid to do certain things because this is how I pay my bills and feed myself and my family. So I have to sometimes sacrifice. And I think when I see people that are making room for people like me, I know that that pretty much is foreshadowing that one day I'm going to get my spot too. And hopefully those people will reach out to me and make my transition to where I want to be easier, you know? So that's why I look up to y'all or I ask y'all questions or other people, because with that knowledge and that mentorship, I'm going to get to where I want to go. And sometimes it takes patience, but I think sometimes it just takes pride in knowing like, hey, I believe something different, or I feel like something is a little bit not right about the situation, and just be okay with speaking up on it. And if you lose your job, oh, well, girl, trust me, God did not close that door if he didn't have 3 other ones ready for you. So I have legit had to experience that myself, and I used to cry about it. And now when those doors close, I'm celebrating it because I know that there really is something waiting on me. And I was just put in that room to use my platform and my voice and ruffle some feathers to make a change. You know?
I agree. So, Mr. Willie, while you walking around out in the world, what do you think? You got to unmute yourself because I can't unmute you. But what do you think we can do to create more inclusion in the industry? Oh, hold on, we can't hear you. Turn yourself up. We can't hear you. Turn your mic up. We can't hear you, really. No, we can't hear you. Hold on. Let's see. We can figure this out. Turn your mic up. Turn your mic up. We can't hear you. All right. We're going to let him work on that. Let's go. Where we at? To Rhea. What do you think we can do, or one solution to create inclusion in the industry?
One, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, a couple. You can do a couple.
Like, can I say a couple? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, agreeing with the first two. So, and also going back to the whole color for people and for everybody, I just want to throw it out there for maybe anybody that's in a brand that might be listening. You know how you go to Home Depot or you go to Lowe's or Sherman-Williams and you get your paint and you can, like, there's all these crazy different shades and like so many different variations. Or when you go on to paint and you use the little tool where you're like, oh, I want this color, and it actually can make it digitally. Well, I feel like we could make the science, just putting it out there, that, you know, I want this shade, or it takes a little bloop of somebody's color, and then, you know, it adds, you know, this amount of red, or like we talked about color theory, this amount of blue, or this amount of, you know, warmth or cool tones, blah, 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 to really cater to somebody specifically. That would be a way we could help to create inclusion for makeup artists, for tanning, for, because I think like for people who are of color, I think that there should be tanning for them as well, because maybe they're having a wedding or they're doing something that's in a fashion show and they have age spots that they want to cover up. I feel like inclusion needs to be everywhere, in lines and makeup and tanning and pretty much anything that there could possibly in dolls. You know, like I just like, I think it's crazy. I got to grow up with a whole section full of white dolls, and you know, not everybody else did. So, just creating inclusion in the world in general would be great. But the main thing with the beauty industry, I think, is to, like what she was saying, check people who think incorrectly. Checking, I really try to be as constructive and professional as I possibly can be, whether it's a mentor of mine, whether it's a or somebody I thought I should make a mentor and then learned some things and then moved on from that person. Hopefully that person sees things differently now. Just educating, sharing. I think having inclusive classes as well would be really great. I think like us as a community, as we're doing this, maybe having some classes, because there are people who are in families that are biracial where the dad or the mom might not be able to do hair, and the other person that knows how to do it might be working all the time, or you know, maybe not want to do it. You know, I think that they should, I think both parents should be able to do it. I think, like I said, everybody should be able to do everybody's hair, just because it takes a little more work and a little more catering to it and TLC, like tender love and care to curls. That's all you got to do, man. And if you can't uphold that type of customer service to curly hair, then why even be in the beauty industry? Because everybody's beautiful. So
I agree. Shout out to Terry Tomlinson, because like I think about this every time when people do classes, and a lot of times when I do classes, I use white models just because people just assume that we can't do white people. So I think like in the beginning, I always use white models because it's just like, boom, I could do this. But Terry was like the first person that I really knew that like purposely would do her classes, and every time there's a different person of a different color, because she's like a color theory person. Like that's like her job, and you can't say, oh, I'm in color theory, and every time you do a class it's a pale white girl, you know, which is for me is like I can blink and it's done, you know, because it can be very simple. So when you're doing classes, I feel like we got to hold ourselves accountable of doing people of all different shades and colors and races, because again, the whole part of being an artist, in my opinion, and I think everyone in the panel opinion, that if you can't do everyone's skin, you can't do everyone's hair, then you can't, I don't think, put that artist title on the back of yourself. You should probably not limit yourself. Let me see if Willie can. Willie, can we hear you? Unmute yourself. Let's see if we can hear you.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, I know. We can hear you. Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, pretty much like everybody said, you know, in order for us to have, you know, for these things to go forward and be better, first of all, quit being racist. That's one of the biggest things. Just don't be racist. Just let that go. But then in reality is also, you know, if we're going to mentor people, also be great mentors. Like, you can't be a mentor if you're intimidated by the person that you're mentoring. So be a mentor, be willing to teach people stuff, be willing to show people stuff. Like when I mentor folks, I teach them how to be leaders. I do not mentor followers. So if you just want to work with me or I don't even say people work for me, I say we all work together, because I want everybody to be owners of their businesses. So if a person works under me, I'm training them to be a leader. Like, you know, I want you to be able to do what I can do without me being there. Like one day I had 2 fashion shows going on at the same time because I trained my team. So it's all about us being able to be quality mentors, help each other out. Also, you know, continue to do what we do because we have a love for it, you know, learn the intention on, you know, why you're doing it. And then, you know, just proceed that way. And then quit worrying about, like me, I stopped worrying about if people were going to invite me to stuff. I quit worrying about if this client was going to book me. I created my own space, my own table, so I can book my own people and I can book my damn self. And believe it or not, those same people that didn't want to work with me, they're all trying to work. They all are my clients now. And everybody that has ever tried to stop my business, none of them are even in this industry anymore. So I look at it like that. You know, nobody can come against what's already been blessed. You know, they'll try to make it. They'll try to do it, but they can't do it. So that's just how I look at it. And we done. I can't hear y'all now.
Didi is muted.
Sorry. I said thank you, Willie. I was really talking. Thank you for that. I agree. Mavel, go on and tell us what you think would be a good solution.
The solution is where you can't fit in, you make your own space. So if we don't fit in nowhere else, then make a space. We got Dallas Black and White Letters. They don't have no team behind them. They don't have nobody who does theater. We can go represent and give them something and say, we're a team. We know how to do behind the stage, opera, theater, commercials, all of that. And then we set our own standards as far as bringing everybody in and show people how to do inclusion.
Yeah.
See, some things is show and tell. You just can't talk about it. You just have to be about it. We got places we can do this thing and then show people how to include folks.
I totally agree. Shauntavia and I were just talking about this. I know that people have tried in the past to create agencies. I'm going to say specifically people of color have tried in the past to create agencies to provide opportunities. And one or two things has happened. Either the agency has received pushback where they couldn't get in the doors to have their artists get work. But we also have had people who've been in charge who had huge egos and made it hard for people to work for them. So Shauntavia and I had talked and we were like, we've done a lot of research about unionizing and about coming together to create our own. And I know that, again, I said this at the top of the show, that everybody that we invited on this show are super talented. Odis, who is a photographer, videographer, also style his own shoots, bad shoots, does his research, knows what he wants to come out of it. And probably 95% of the time it comes out exactly how he wanted because he did the lead work. Willie Johnson knows how to style. He knows how to design. He knows the industry from front to back. He knows how to train models. He knows what people want. He keeps his ear to the street. He keeps his eyes in the book. Keep his ears, to hearing people. And in fact, like I told people in our live that, it wasn't just taking and putting the clothes on people and sending them back. They was coming back like you just bought them at the store, honey. He was putting them back in the bag, sealing them up, cleaning the bottom of the shoe. It smelled like new store when he was finished with them. That's talent. You got Ellie who could do anybody, any color, don't matter, any type of hair. And if for one reason, if she doesn't know something, would be like, hey, sis, what's up with this real quick? Let me see how we do this and this and that and the other. Who going to speak out? Who's going to say this is not right? Who's going to bring people? You got Mavel who can do everybody. Mavel will come into a show and rap the whole show. Okay.
Mavel went to New York.
Yeah.
Okay, we went to New York Fashion Week, right? With all these people who's supposed to know. None of them could do a chignon or whatever you call it. A bun, honey. You got to show everybody up in that place how to put a bun.
Yeah.
And make it pretty.
Yeah.
They didn't have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the people that we surround ourselves with. So you have a person who's been in the industry 20-something years who has tried to bring stuff to her own hood, have been to other people's hood. The person that, who people said shouldn't be there, she's been there. You got the Alderman himself, who is a designer, who is a stylist, who, learned how to sew eventually, like he said, who researched and done magazines, who tried to be inclusive, and who has been an advocate in the industry forever. You got Rhea, who, again, could do everybody here. When I say that girl could do everybody here, I mean that. And if she don't know how to do it, she's going to find out. Her and my friend Bonnie are both like that. If Bonnie can't do something, Bonnie will email me real quick, say, Didi, hey, girl, do you think there's something I can handle? If not, I'm sending them your way, homegirl, But the people that we surround ourselves with are truly well-rounded people. can't say we're the best at everything, but we know that when we show up, the job is going to get done. That has been said by anybody who has ever hired us. And if anybody is more capable of bringing something together, it's definitely what I consider the dream team, which is the people who is on this live. So I'm saying all of that to say that I think it is time on this day. I don't even know what today is. On this day, I'm gonna mark it right here. On this day, June 22nd, 2020, that we are going to have a conversation about creating our own agency, and not just to be, like we said, everybody is going to be included. But in order for you to be a part of our agency, you're going to have to know how to do everything, period. Enough is enough. We're tired of being put in situations to be assistants. We're assistant people who just started working 2 years ago, and we're brought in as assistants because they can't do people of color, because they are, and I'm going to correct, earlier we said they told us, oh, you guys are going to do tiny ponytails. Excuse me, they called them space buns. We were going to go do space buns. So we're having to work under complete idiots. I'm just going to call it out there. We have had to work under complete idiots who don't research, who don't take the time to be inclusive, who don't take the time to be empathetic. You are right. When you say, oh, I don't see color, we know that you're lying. I can say if anybody don't see color, technically it will be us, but we know it's not true, because unless you are literally blind or colorblind, that is the only way that you cannot see color. Okay. So if you can't see color, you can't work for us, period. And to be honest, I don't unfriend, delete, block anyone who is racist, because I need to know who you are, because I'm going to forget. So I need to go back and search for you. In fact, I'm hiring. C&D Beauty Studio is hiring. And I've had people apply to be my personal assistant who I've seen personally be racist. If I would have deleted or unblocked them, I would have probably accidentally hired them. We got to hold everybody accountable, period. Right? So I do believe that we need to have mentorship programs, and that we have to be open to accepting mentorship from people, because I think sometimes people think that we aren't skilled enough, that we don't know enough. But Mavel has opened and closed and opened a bunch of salons. If that girl can't do nothing else, she could open up a salon. She could tell you something. Okay, she could tell you enough that you won't make the same mistakes. Okay, Shauntavia and I been in a bunch of Cracker Jack boxes that we done turned into some beautiful, somethings, and then now open our own new place, and hopefully our next venture will be opening up our own building with our own school. Willie done went literally through the fire, literally bounced back and created his own agency after everybody done encouraged him to do so. Ellie done been through death and heartbreak and everything else. So you can learn from anyone. They don't have to be Instagram famous. We all did this before Instagram and Facebook was a thing. Mavel, how long you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry 27 years, and I always say you don't have to be known to be on.
Willie, how long you been in the industry? Look, he walking with his mask on.
Since 1970.
See? Yeah.
Can you hear me? Since 1979.
1979, because he was modeling and then model turn everything else. Ellie, how long you been in the industry?
Yep, I started.
Sorry, I fail, y'all. I done fell on the line. Jesus. Okay, reset. Ellie, how long have you been in the industry? She can't take it. Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
I'm in August it'll be 14 years for me. Oh my god.
Shauntavia, how long you been in the industry?
Since 2010.
See? And I've been on and off since 96 as I started modeling and moved into my first, the funny story is I lied my way to my first makeup job. I couldn't even do my own makeup, really. I was doing somebody else's makeup, and someone asked me to, I don't know where I was, something like at a park. And this guy says, "Oh, I really need someone to do the makeup. Your makeup is really pretty." And he said, "I have a Russian model and I want you to do her makeup." Okay, no clue. Went in there, did this person's makeup, and that was my first commercial job for Claire's. No clue. No clue. Had no clue. That was back in 2001. So and had to learn and struggle. So people that you think just woke up and started doing this stuff, 20, 10, 15, 27, 30 something years worth of experience just out of these few people here, and doesn't count all the people who join on the live. There's things that you can learn from these people. So we will all be having classes. We will be having mentorship programs. Look out for them. Follow them. Everybody tell them where to follow you. Mavel, how can they follow you outside of Facebook?
Outside of Facebook, Eccentrically Mavel on Instagram, 214-621-1634. I'm social media. I don't know how else you gonna do it.
Ellie, how can they reach you and book you?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at ExperienceLEL. And then you can either book me through Willie Johnson at J3 Productions, or you can obviously book me through my email at experiencel@gmail.com. And then actually next month, I'm supposed to launch my new website. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, congrats. And Willie, okay, there you go. We're like gonna say, how can they reach you? Okay, Willie, tell the people real quick through your mask how they can book you.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram. I have two of them, Willie Johnson 3, WILLIEJOHNSON 3. And then my other Instagram for my company is J3 Productions _. That's J3 Productions _.
Awesome.
And that's how you can book me.
Fantastic. And you can always book Shauntavia and I. So you guys, Shauntavia over there, I don't know why she's still muted, but we are C&D Beauty Studio. We are located in Arlington, Texas. Our clients do literally come from forever. So if you don't live in Arlington, it don't matter. Y'all can travel over here. We have clients who will fly here, so y'all can come down these streets.
Mm-hmm.
you can book cdbeautystudio.com. You can book me.
A brand new website, y'all.
Website. CD Beauty. Yeah. Go on there. You can book me for side projects that has nothing to do with salon at DD Payne Artistry at ddpayneartistry.com. Then Shauntavia over there.
Book me on cheekspro.com for commercial projects, theater projects, for wig design, all of that.
Yep. And we have products. We have lashes are available. You can
yes.
These are the Gabriels.
And we will be launching our hair care products next month. And we ready. We ready. So we thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you who has joined. Those who popped in for a minute. The Alderman, Shawn, Florence, and Rhea Wileford. And who am I missing? Odis Lewis. Mavel, Ellie, Willie, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I hope this will not be our last conversation about this. We're probably going to beat a dead horse. This is the only way that we can effectively advocate for the industry, and so we got to keep it going. So
we have to start including our friends. Like, we got to ask everybody that we know that has an opinion about this to be able to get on and that have experienced this, because we've all experienced it in one way or the other. We've all experienced it, even if it wasn't directly us. We have seen it.
Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it and we experienced it. We have coming this week, we will be posting a pre-recorded video that Shauntavia and I had a conversation with one of the rare wig master artisans in the theater industry, Sherelle Guyton. And we will be posting a video, and it's just the information that she had was incredible for people who are interested in that type of field, but also to know how deep racism is in theater. And she discusses that and covers that, and I think it goes along with what we've already talked about. So we hope that if not tomorrow, which is the day that we normally have our beauty talks, that maybe it will be on Thursday. But we will tag you guys in it so y'all can kind of listen in, and hope that we can continue this conversation coming next week as well. I appreciate you guys' time.
Appreciate you.
Bye, everybody.
See y'all later. Nice seeing y'all.
Nice seeing you.
Bye.